Yes.
Set back. Well,
That looks like there, it's like, if you can hear it
Are we good?
from a block away.
Yeah.
You should.
All right, everybody, thank you for joining. We are here at the Mesilla Town Hall for a regularly scheduled Board of Trustees meeting. The first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'll please stand.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next order of business is roll call and determination of quorum. Lori, please.
Mayor Hernandez.
Present.
Trustee Cadena. Present. Trustee Garcia. Here. Trustee Nevares.
Present.
Mayor, we have a quorum.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek did have another engagement that she's attending or taking care of, and noted to me that she will not be present. We do have. Approval of the agenda as it has been presented. So,
Second.
motion on the floor by Trustee Nevada, second by Trustee Garcia. And unless there's discussion or objection, the motion will proceed as it has been motioned. Motion on the floor by Trustee Nevada, seconded by Garcia for approval of the agenda, and that has been approved. Next item on the agenda is approval of the consent agenda that does include the BOT meeting minutes from June 8th, 2026, the BOT meeting minutes from June 22nd, 2026, purchase or acquisition of APIC Solutions for public safety building security, and the amount of $2,162.10. Purchase or acquisition APIC Solutions Community Center security, in the amount of $77,937.56. Purchase or acquisition Desert Peaks Architects Public Safety Buildings, $12,366.26.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Trustee Cadena, seconded by Trustee Nevares. We'll open it up for discussion. Penny.
Sir, I don't know if you received the email regarding Ms. Squeezer, Morgan.
Yes, Ms. Wilson.
If you can get that corrected from the June, BOT minutes on June 22nd and 2026.
Yes. From that email.
And then also for the minutes on 26th, it said Ms. Molina explained how much money was. It was not her that said that. I watched the video twice already. And that's about all.
So we'll go back and review that and make those adjustments.
I appreciate it, thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Seeing as that motion on the floor by Trustee Cadena, seconded by Trustee Nevares. Gloria, if we can roll call vote, please.
Yes. Trustee Garcia.
Yes.
Trustee Nevares.
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 3 yeses.
Thank you very much for approval of the consent agenda that does include the BOT meeting minutes, purchase requisition for APIC Solutions, purchase requisition for Desert Peak Architects, and we will make those adjustments to the minutes as noted. Next item on the agenda, presentation. First presentation this evening will be done by Tomas Cruces.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, trustees. Is it too loud? Should I back up? Okay. Hello, I'm with Film Las Cruces. I am the film liaison here at Film Las Cruces. Film Las Cruces is the film office for Doña Ana County and Las Cruces. Even though we have Dorothy Sellers, who is the film liaison here for Masia, we do work with her a lot and we'll transfer her, but we also still include Masia in our location packages and everything like that. You know, if there's a location that works perfect for Masia, we want to make sure we include them. And this way, it also kind of takes a little bit of work off of Dorothy's hands, and then we can hand it to her once they're interested in reaching out to us. I have some stats that I would like to share with you guys. Is it okay if I pass them along? Oh, sure. So on the first page, these are just actual number stats for the economic impact of film in Las Cruces and Doña Ana County. Last year, we had 3,655 worker days. A worker day is what we call, if you do a production day, like a production is 30 days, then we multiply it by all the crew members, and that each one of those days counts as one day. And then for production days, that's 114. That means for 114 days, they were actually filming in Doña Ana County in the area. And then we separated a little bit by post-production and pre-production. Pre-production is when they come in and they're kind of getting stuff ready. They're finding locations, they're getting catering, crews, and all that. Post is when they're wrapping things up. The reason we separate those is because for full production days, that's where you're going to have the entire crew, the entire cast, everyone kind of working together to build it. For pre and post-production days, that's just when you have sometimes it can be as little as 1 or 2 people, just the producer and the director. So it's not adding as much economic impact, but we did want to include it just because they are still here and they are spending money in the area. One of the biggest things that they do is we like to give them above the line ATL when they do come and scout. One of their favorites is the Hacienda de Masia that's right here. Of course, we will always take them to around this area just to show them, because even when they're not filming here, we want to make sure they know about Masia, and there are different areas where they can spend buy local. We've had one actress who she fell in love with one of the stores downtown, and she ended up going there like almost every day to buy different stuff. So we want to make sure they know about those things. As the state, so last year our local spend was $12,230,102, which is a pretty good number. The state recorded it as $41,519,647. The reason that there's a difference is because the state counts the taxes going towards the main actors. But since the main actors don't live here and they don't really stay here, we count a very small percentage of their salary. So we're just trying to get the most accurate local spend, how much they're actually spending here. Where the state, because they consider, or they take taxes out of their actual spend, they count those as well. So that's where that discrepancy is from. And last year we had 13 productions. I am very proud to say since about July of last year, we have had a production in the area every single month for about 2 years now. We even have one right now. We talked about the local spend. So that made a total of $19.5 million economic impact in the county. So one thing that we've been hearing a lot about is how in the state production has been down. That is true of the northern states. It has not been our northern part of the state, Albuquerque and Santa Fe. It has not been true for us. We've actually been going up as in terms of productions here, production spend. And so we are not only at the same levels, but we're actually getting more than the others. And that led us to last year, we had 13% of all film spending. When we first started, when we first set up Film Las Cruces, John Sepp was one of the big helpers of that. We were 2% of the state income, and that was just 10 years ago. So in 10 years, we've raised about 10% of the state income. And we had 21% of the total films made here in the state, which was 13 out of 63. The other thing that we like to kind of point out is that we will do, it's not just the film industry, as we were saying, there's so many industries that build into it, whether it's lumber to make the sets, whether it's the car rentals. One of the things that we are highlighting in this page is the hotel nights. So of course, when the productions do come in, we have a lot of hotel nights. We had that big feature Barracuda that came in, and they had a lot of crew that they came in, so they brought in a lot of hotel nights. So last year we had 9,068 9,068 hotel nights, which equals about $1.5 million just out of that. These are just calculations that we got from Visit Las Cruces, just to tell them how much we were making, because it'll change. Some of them use Airbnb, some of them use different, like they'll put 2 in a room sometimes, but this is in general what we think they're making. If we go to the next page, these are quotes from actual filmmakers that shot here. And so we had Catarina Reveles, who did I'll Be Gone in June, which did open at the Cannes Film Festival. This year, Cannes Film Festival is probably the biggest film festival in the world. If you get into the Cannes Film Festival, we had crew members who got into the Cannes Festival. One of the main actresses, Bianca Dumas, has already been offered other roles just from being in that film. And they also shot right there at La Posta. So they had a really cool scene there. And she said that Film Las Cruces became an essential partner. I'll Be Gone in June. They welcomed us warmly into the community and offered crucial support with infrastructure, local connections, and practical logistics throughout the production. Quite simply, this film would not have been possible without Film Las Cruces. Peter Ney, who directed 3, that was another film that shot here, that also shot at Palacios. That was a different one, but they shot there as well. That movie came out earlier this year. I'll Be Gone in June has not come out yet, but that one, 3 did come out earlier this year. And then filming here reminded us why location matters. The desert doesn't just set the scene, it becomes a story. A lot of times when we're talking to filmmakers, they're coming, Catarina Reveles was from Germany, Peter was from New York, so they're coming here and they don't really know what they're looking for, or they know what they're looking for, but they don't know where we have it. So that's why we will take them out on the location scouts and we'll give them location packages. This way, if it is a gas station, even something as simple as that, they know what their locations are. So when they come here, they kind of have an idea of what they're looking for. And we answer that question for them of like, do you have a school that we can use? We show them that so that they know that when they get here, there are options for them. And even once they leave with Barracuda, they had one day where it was 7 a.m. and they lost one of their locations and they had about 200 extras coming in to fill up the scene. So we had to find them a new location and parking for 200 cars. And so that's one of the things we do. And that's one of the reasons that we function. It's to be dedicated to film. So when they do call us at 7 a.m, we are there to pick up that call and make sure we get the production smoothly running. For Keegan Carnes, he is a local, he went to NMSU. We actually went to NMSU at the same time. He directed his first film, Love on Tap, which actually comes out this week on streaming and VOD. He said, "I'm so proud and happy to have made 3 feature films in Las Cruces and intend to do many more." And then we had Javier Gonzalez, who is a producer who has brought a lot of productions here. He said, "This is an exceptional place to film. Any kind of movie gives a local crew-based film incentive and weather." And then the last page, I won't read this one, it's pretty long, but this is from The Fountain. We also have Carol here for support. But it's from Brian Lee, who's the president of the Mesilla Valley Film Society, and he just talks about the importance of Film Las Cruces. Another thing we do is we do hold events. We help the film office the film festival when they have their festival. We always do, the last couple of years, we've done what's called a mixer, because with the film festival, you are bringing in a lot of different filmmakers from Albuquerque, from all over the country. Last year, we had some from Africa. And so again, what we want to do is make sure they know about our locations, they know about our crew and about our vendors. And so we have what's called the mixer. What we want to do is have networking events that don't feel like networking events. So we'll have snacks there. We'll let them mingle, and this way they're able to meet the crew, meet the vendors without thinking that it's a business relationship, and they can just kind of enjoy each other's company. And that's one of the things we do. We also do what's called the wrap every month. We actually have one right now. That's where my associate film liaison is, and that's just where local filmmakers can come show off their work. Again, it's another great networking opportunity. There's even been times where they'll meet each other, and then the next couple of months they'll have made a featured or a short film together, because now they know about each other. Because we do have our database, we have our crew database, our vendor database, and our location database, and that's how they start. But once they start hiring locals, then it becomes, oh, well, you're here. Who do you know that you want to hire? So we want to make sure, again, that these filmmakers know each other, that they're networking, that they can reach out to each other. And when those opportunities come, they have an answer to, oh, who's a good makeup artist? I know 3 of them. So that's another reason that we have these events and why they're so important to us. So yeah, so we are asking you guys have been able to donate 10,000 before, and we're asking for that again for this year. And any questions?
So we approved this last year? What are the benefits of us approving this?
So we get funding from the city, the county, and from Anthony. What we use this funding for is to maintain those databases that cost money. It's to help pay for the location scouts and everything like that. We also will go out to different events. One of the main reasons that we want this added money to our budget is because we'll go out to what's called AFM, which is the American Film Market. That is another location where a lot of producers are going. One of the hard things about advertising a film office is that you're not advertising in a normal way. Like if you have a bakery, you want to let people in Las Cruces know all about your bakery and everything. But we want to let decision makers, and only decision makers like producers, directors, people with projects, know about Las Cruces and the benefits. And we've talked to the PGA and different organizations to find out what's the best way to make those kind of connections and make those talks. And they said it is because our budget is so small and our office is so small, the best way is to do it in person. And so we have been trying to go out more to AFM. Eli Villalpando, the Associate Film Liaison, he just went to Produce By Conference, which is a conference put on by the Producers Guild of America. And so we're just trying to hit those big networking opportunities so that we can let people know about them. And like one of the things that has helped us is the marketing. When I first started, we had there was a company called Asylum. They do Sharknado and those kind of like cheesy horror movies. The first thing I did was I made a location package. I made it specific to them, and I added the Sharknado to like the Oregon Mountains and different things so they knew it was happening. And that was 4 years ago. This year, they finally reached out and they said, we kept that, and we have some projects that we want to film. And so they filmed 2 shark movies here in about 3 weeks, but one of them was shot at the Mesilla Valley school that's up there, and the other one was shot at the Blue Door venue. And so it's because of those marketing successes that we have been able to go. And especially with how we've been reaching higher as far as production, I think it is greatly due to the fact that we have been pushing ourselves in marketing. So those are the things that kind of we go into our budget.
Okay, so it's basically the 10,000 based on marketing.
Yes. Yeah.
I had a question.
Sure.
I guess, do you work with the educational programs at the university, like the creative?
Yes, of course. We have many workshops with the community college and with CMI. We usually go every semester to the classes to give presentations. With CMI, they have what's called short form film productions every year. And what we do is they don't really need permits, but we get them into the habit. And we've talked with Sherwin Lau, who is one of the main teachers there. And they will send us the permit requests. And then we tell them, like, here's what you would need for the permit. Because again, we want them to go through the steps and make sure once they leave NMSU, they know how to do that process. Even though it's kind of a mock one for that time, next time we go through all the steps so they know this is what you need. And so when you actually do it for real, you have that ahead of you. We'll even go out to the schools. We do the career days. We try to do the elementary schools, but they either don't know really what we do, and they'll ask us like, oh, did you film Jurassic Park? And we have to like, no, that wasn't us. Or, but once they're in middle school, we will go, they kind of get it more. And then once they're in high school, as soon as they hear how much you can make as a film crew, they get really excited. One of the great things about film is that you can go either route. We have crew members who never went to college, who just went straight into film afterwards, and they've been able to get pretty high in their ranks or become department heads. But we also have so many students that are coming from NMSU and CMI and DACC who have been able to move along that. Another thing we'll do is every summer, we reach out to DACC and NMSU, and we ask them for those students who are ready to be on set, who know the lingo, who've been on a couple of student productions, so they're not as intimidated, because it can be intimidating. And this way, we want to give them the best foot forward and make sure that they know that, A, we are a good resource and they can always call us if they need it, but also that they're ready to go and they're ready to be on set. So there's a lot of things we do with the school, yes.
And you work closely with the activities at the Society.
Yes, yeah. And we help them whenever they need us, and we'll also share every month at the RAC. We usually, if we have like right now, they're about to do the new program about the night school, so we'll put it as our announcements, just so that people can be aware. Because again, usually the people who are coming to our event, not only do they work in film, but they love film. So we want to make sure that they know about those events and everything like that. Even last year when the economic team came and me and DACC's Matt Burns put on a presentation for visiting offices, just to show them what we do as terms of film in economic development.
I attended one of those sessions at the Palm Theater.
Cool. Of course.
But, and one of the things that I just want to mention is that I think that it's good for the trustees too, that I don't think we really touched on, is that I've dealt with it personally, right? So from the restaurant side. And I think that one of the things that we see is our local impact that we have with people coming into the business. Now, generally, when a movie's filming, the cast and crew they're working, minimum of 12-hour days. So they're not really out dining out at that point in time. But the catering services that come from that typically comes from a local restaurant. I know I've done it several times. La Posta's done it. Andales, the Eagle, I believe, has done
Yes.
it. So that, and it's also roamed around where it's on site. Madeline's has done it before.
Mhm.
It just depends on where they're doing. They try to work with the companies or restaurants that are within that area as well. So the potential of us having the extra meals receipts coming in because of that is exponential. So it's a good side on that part. Plus also doing any of the after parties, the wraps and everything like that, or even when you're scouting. And then what I've also noticed is that while the actors might be on set a lot of times, they're not necessarily there the full 12-hour day. So you might be getting the actors that are coming in, especially in our restaurant row, if you will, where we have all the extra businesses to come out and enjoy a little bit more. So that benefit is always a good thing to have.
Yes, exactly. And one of the great things we do is we do talk to the businesses when they want to become vendors, and catering's the perfect one, because when you think of catering company, usually they'll have one event, it's a wedding and it's from 5 to 9. When you're doing a film, it is 2 meals a day, and though the start time for the shoot could be 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., which means you're having breakfast at 6 p.m. and then you're having lunch at midnight. And so we want to prepare those. As a matter of fact, Andales did it last year, and we had to kind of tell Andales, like, you've done too many enchiladas. they want tacos or something else. And so we do kind of get them ready to say, hey, this is a little bit different with film. You kind of have to switch it up. Of course, it's Hollywood, so there's always a vegetarian at least. And so just kind of letting them know this is what to expect when you are going to be part of film. And it helps them and it helps the productions as well. All right. Thank you so much.
Next presentation is for the South Central Council of Governments for a CDBG project application. With this, Tiffany with the COG is the one that's helping us out with this, but unfortunately she has a meeting in Chaparral that she's not able to be here this evening to do this, but I've been working closely with her and Eddie has as well and through this process. So there was, if you recall, probably about a month ago, there was a set of public hearings that was held. I was one of those that I was mentioning to the board that the electeds were told to not attend those public hearings because they might tend to have an influence on the projects or whatever the case may be, but they need to get community feedback and so on and so forth, as it's determined on what and how the funding can happen. So the Tiffany and Eddie did 2 of the public hearings. One was they were both at the community center. One was during the lunchtime for when the seniors were having lunch there at the community center. That actually had a good attendance. And then the other one was in the evening, which didn't have attendance at all, I believe, from what I understand. So But that's just the feedback, and it's a part of the application process on that. What came out was on this, because it's very targeted funding that is specific for seniors or a specific group of individuals. For sidewalk improvements, mainly with ADA accessibility and creating an accessibility loop. So really driving down on other projects that we kind of have also that are intertwined within our current ICIP listing. So here's a map that Tiffany did up that basically has what you see in pink is existing sidewalks and loops, or a loop, if you will. It kind of goes around. There's a bus stop here on the end. So I just wanted to make sure that it encompassed a bus stop of people potentially being dropped off, having access to go all the way around to the community center through the plaza, identifying the areas in yellow are areas where we need to look at improvements. So along the sidewalk here, on this side, right by in front of the La Posta parking lot, almost to the tortilla factory, there's a very steep incline of bricks that needs to be repaired. So we'll be doing that. All four corners here at San Albino and Padian, to be redoing that and ensuring that they're all ADA accessible, especially that ramp that's on that northwest side, and then evaluating the height of the sidewalk as it pertains to going down, excuse me, that side there. Because of the height of that, there might need to be a railing or some sort of stop that's put in engineering on that side. The sidewalk does stop here at the public bathrooms. So extending it to connect to the sidewalk that comes around the corner on Picacho. There is a break that comes back in that goes back to the backside of the community center, but specifically identifying and painting the crosswalk that gets us or gets mobility to the sidewalk that comes to this side, but also including in addition of a sidewalk that goes around the other side that connects the community garden. So that is on that side. There was the estimate that was provided as part of that in the, which will be something to be discussed later as a total budget that was doing this whole side. So the total request of funding being 527,000 or 500, little over that. A federal grant that's worked on through the COG on that side. So it's kind of straightforward on that. Any questions? Not on this, no. If it get, and the last time that we actually went after this funding, the CBDC, Community Development Block Grant, is what it's done. The last time that we actually went after this funding was when we did the window redo on the community center, and I think that was back, if I remember right, that was back in 2012. So we haven't gone for anything towards that.
You can put a rail right there after you pass the church on right on right side. Right there at where the priest lives at, that's pretty high too.
So that will be another area that can be reviewed on that side. It's not as steep as the about foot and a half that's on the side right there between La Costa and Julian. They're gonna that'll be all engineering that looks at that and then the need of that, making sure that it's ADA compliant. And that's part of what they have included in their budget.
Probably a very much needed project because there's safety concerns, people stepping off those.
We've done a lot of the updates already around the plaza and areas like that, as well as down Santiago and the areas over here in San Albino, and recently getting this done in front of here in these areas. So it's just a continuation of what's already been done, but really focusing on the senior community center and the ADA accessibility through specific areas. Any other questions? Next item on the agenda, staff updates and staff comments. We'll kick it off with the Marshal's Department.
Good evening, Mayor and trustees. Not much to report. 4th of July went smooth. No issues on the plaza or the fireworks show or traffic control. Fireworks show was over 35 minutes long compared to 15 minutes to our neighbors up there. It was a good show for it being sponsored by Planet Fireworks. Are you going to talk?
Talk about.
You have anything to go over? While I was surfing Facebook, I found a post on Community Watch about encampment over by the river that would fall in our jurisdiction. Our day shift guys were dispatched, but they couldn't find it. After I screenshotted the post and sent it to them, Deputy 3 SRO Boylston and ACO Codes Ramirez went over there and located it. It was uninhabited, and they spent 1 hour, 30 minutes. Cleaning it up, packing it all out, and clearing the area. While they were there, a couple bikers, runners thanked them for their service because I guess it had been there forever. There was another issue on residents on North Day that was addressed on social media. That's been taken care of by ACO Codes Ramirez. So we're hitting the trouble areas here and there. If you see any, let us know. Email us, call us, throw it on social media. I guess that works. But if we see it and we can find it and it's our jurisdiction, we'll handle it. Graveyards is still running their patrols on University for speeders and traffic violations there, and or violations of e-bikes and dirt bikes being on the walking path. They've had a couple incidents and they're still using it as teaching moments for the walking path. Vehicles are starting to get citations. Friday, we were selected by the New Mexico Victims' Right Project to host a seminar from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. here at the community center. They were advised by people that have gone to trainings that Danny's put on or the CSIs have put on, and it was highly recommended. So I think that's a step in the right direction, that they're starting to see what the town and the department has to offer. That'll be attended by people all the way from up north, all corners of New Mexico. So the CSI team's going to help with that. Danny's going to help with it. So that should be a good event to have for us. Don't think there's anything else. Stand for questions, concerns. Thank you.
Sorry, I got a lot of keys. Good evening, Mayor, Board, members of the public. You have to deal with me because Chief Whited is at training with 2 of our volunteers. So kind of bear with me here as we talk through this. I just want to talk about our volunteers a little bit. We recorded over 1,600 working hours with the volunteers last month. We're 3 weeks away from ending our academy that we've been running over the summer. I've got 7 volunteers that we're teaching to be trained up to be what's called a Firefighter 1. So they've learned everything from how to put their gear on to deploy a hose, and they will finish their training with a live fire this weekend. Obviously, we're very hopeful for the resolution that's on tonight. We got our fingers crossed. We're hoping for more staff. We always need the help. We had a very eventful 4th of July. All the cadets were there. They brought their families to the fire station. They kind of get to see like how everything works for us. Something I wanted to highlight was that since it was the 250th anniversary of the 4th of July, we made special shirts. So Captain White is going to model that shirt for you. It's got a historic fire truck on it. Something that we're looking at after we've been approached by the public multiple times is the possibility of selling these shirts to donate the profits towards the restoration of the fire truck. So I'll be talking with you guys on how to make that happen. But that's pretty much all I've got. I stand for questions.
Okay, it's a very good idea to put on sale.
Yes. Yeah, and they're fantastic shirts. They're super soft. We've got sizes from 3X all the way down to extra small. So
I'm gonna follow up with your, trustee Novales, try to get it done before the fiesta.
Yes, as soon as we can.
Place to sell
Yes, ma'am.
them, but try to get it to us.
Yeah,
ASAP.
I'll talk to you, figure out how to do that. Cool. Anything?
Where the screen preparation.
I know, this will make sure it's for everything.
Just gotta volunteer.
Perfect.
I'll give you a good price.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you, sir.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that
Volunteer Firefighter Appreciation Day is coming up on August 18th.
Take a look at that. I feel like there's days for everything now. It's Monday day today, so we'll figure out. I'll take a look and see, and then we'll make an event out of that. We obviously care a lot about our volunteers. They've been the backbone of this department for a very long time. So
Yes, socialize this, please, too, as well, too.
yes, ma'am.
So we get people coming.
I've actually like to share that I've been talking with some members of the community in Las Cruces. Their family was part of the the founding people of starting the Mesilla Fire Department. So they said they may have some historical items. And then I met a man at Maverick the other day who said he volunteered back in like the 1980s. He still has uniforms, a badge, and everything. He wants to donate that back to the department so we can kind of put that on for show.
Go visit my aunt Matilda there on Pilot Birthday.
Okay, cool.
Long goes one, well, he's deceased, but he's one of them.
Rest his soul. I'm sorry,
Yes.
but yeah, we want to put together the history of this department. So.
Yeah, I have my dad's original hat and he was the original firefighter.
See, and that's exactly the type of stuff we want to put together. So
So I have that in my house right now, but it makes me emotional, so.
yes, ma'am, I understand. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank
community economic development.
Good evening, trustees, mayor, board members of the public. Eddie Salazar with the Community Economic Development. We've been working a lot with getting our software together. iWorks is really coming along. We've had multiple meetings with Zoom meetings with the rep down there, walking through the permit process, how to set up. A lot of information is being shared. Especially the applications, the forms, the GIS. The third party, they actually do also online payments, take online payments at no additional cost. So all that stuff is very positive. The expectation, I think it was the contract was signed sometime in May, I believe, end of May, and it was 90 days. 90 days from that is whenever we should be, well, they committed, we committed, I guess we agreed that we would be having that finalized by 90 days from the end of May. So we do the math, it's coming soon. Also, we're looking at the possibility about adding the additional business add-on to iWorks, and I think I had a meeting again with them today. Very promising. I can mention I have worked with iWorks before, and I think it's a very good system to have with permits and business licenses. A very good tracker and notifications, and just now it's been about 4 years since I've worked with it, but it seems to be getting a little bit better with the AI included and all that stuff in there. So it's very nice. Versus what we got now is Tyler Solutions Encode, and it almost seems like you're working with a DOS computer, right? It's just so, to me, it just seems like so much more that they can do to make our jobs easier. So yeah, so we are working on a lot of software that includes Square 9, that includes record keeping, scanning. We continue to add records. It's very, very important, I think, for not just for the commission, but also for the board of trustees to have a history of records on file at our fingertips in case there is a case, something come up, hey, when did this happen, when did this happen? So we make a lot of our decisions based on previous cases and codes, and when did it get approved, when did the resolution passed, and all those things. So we're continuing to do that and trying to get those in the system again, ready for Square 9, and we can reach them anytime we need them. Put my glasses on here. Been working with Liana and our events coordinator. We are starting, with the state september coming along. I think it's going to be a little different. I think it's going to be. I like to include a lot of the every age group. I know whenever we have get-togethers as a person or as a family, as a host, for the get-together, for me, it's always 4th of July. And it's always a matter of entertaining the little ones to the most senior ones, right? So, and I think a lot of times we focus on just one side or one age group or whatever, and I think it's need to involve the whole community part of it, so everybody can enjoy themselves, and maybe the kids can pull their parents and come on, take me because it's got a lot of cool stuff, you know. So we are working a lot of great ideas on that part. Historic preservation, we do have. I talked with Liana today. I want to schedule the first Monday of August. We are going to have continue doing our nominations for a local registry. We are nominating more properties for that. Hopefully this time around we'll go a little bit smoother than the first time we attempted that. But obviously we are getting more information and learning more and more about that. Along with the hearing on that, we also commission and I have been working at least three work sessions, some code amendments, some proposals that we'd like to present to you. So that will be coming up soon also in the first Monday, or after the first Monday, we'll be forwarding them to you as well. We are getting applications in for the community coordinator. There's quite a few. Soon we'll be getting together and we'll be reviewing them and electing which ones we want to, which ones stand out, which one we feel that fits for Mesilla, and move forward on doing some interviews, scheduling some interviews for that. In the meantime, you know, to me, it's always been structure. You know, to me, it's always structure. It's always structure, especially when the new person comes on, and there's no structure, there's no SOPs or anything like that. It's always a lot of questions, always confusing, intimidating to some. You know, I remember when I first started here, it's like, man, what am I doing, right? You just have to form your own routine. And I think I'm hoping that this community coordinator, when he comes in, I do have some structure. I do have some SOPs, the process of from start to finish, how process a permit, you know, all those things, so that way they can follow the process. Basically, what's what they're for, and not just on that, but to continue. Hopefully, with this new help, I can continue to start moving on. I'm working on SOPs for the whole department, and if anybody needs help, I'm more willing to help them as well. Codes, you know, we every day, me and the code officers get together, and he stopped by for, you know, I call it a briefing. You know, what you're working on, when new things are coming up, you know, and I think we're moving in the right direction. Right now we're working on report writing, reports that we want to present to the board, as well as statistics and such. Sometimes the before and afters, you know, we did this. Right now we're working on a lot, like I mentioned, on the Mesilla Park neighborhood. If I get it right, is the opposite. Like Mesilla Park. You know, we are going again, continuing to reach out to those homes. So a lot of these trees have been there for a long, long time, and they're just an eyesore. Half of them dead, half of them unsafe. We're working on that, and along many other ones. Weeds is coming up, and one of the questions I wanted to ask, it just like me and Alfred talk about, you know, they talk about weeds in our code, but it's a general for the whole Mesilla. You know, I mean, we have agricultural land. Is a 12-inch weed in your front yard in the historic zone and the residential, the same as a weed in a 20-acre parcel where you have agricultural land. There's no differentiate in our code, right? So a lot of that we have to take in consideration. And I was, again, talking with the officer, you know, a lot of it depends on, as we talked about, interpreting the codes, what is the intent, and you know, if the weeds are out of control in the agriculture where we got tumbleweeds and drying up and they're leaning against fences, it causes a nuisance to neighbors, potential fire hazards, and obviously those are something, that's how we're going to deal with it that way. So again, it just working with the code. I'm excited. I really do like working with codes and making things a little bit better. Thai restaurant, you know, I'm sorry, every time I pass by, even before working, you know, they had that sign that looked like the sun's been damaged, you know, and, you know, Officer Ramirez went in there and spoke with the manager. You know, they've submitted an application. They got a new sign coming soon. It'll be on the agenda for Monday P&Z meeting. So get that approved. The main corridors is what we're focused on, especially Avenida Mesilla, you know, all those things. A lot of the home, the weeds, the cracks. We already have some properties being cleaned up. So again, it's exciting. It's exciting to see that. Hopefully, you all can see the difference that the efforts that Officer Ramirez and myself are making. So other than that, I stand by for any questions.
I have a comment. You mentioned tumbleweeds. Tumbleweeds are really a pain. I mean, where I live, sometimes they come into my yard from somewhere, I don't know, but they roll in and they're huge, so you can't put them in the trash can. So I think the trick is to eradicate them when they're small and let them grow up to 4 feet.
Exactly.
4 feet tall.
I agree. You know, and a lot of them again start at agricultural land, and then when they dry up, they tumble over to a lot of residential homes.
Seeds.
It's a balance, right? I mean, but I've seen more in a larger spot because they're more tolerable because they're on the edge of an acequia or a canal or something like that, and then they dry up, and then you're over there digging them up out of your swimming pool, right? So, again, stuff that comes in, filters through, and then just kind of want to bring it up.
You're just weeds. I mean, it's a nonstop.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard to tell somebody you got to keep up with weeds. We understand with the rain, man. Susan, you go to my house, there's no weeds. You know, and I love pulling. Believe it or not, I really enjoy pulling weeds. So it's something that I've done since I was a kid. I was always my chore. Now I don't look at it as a punishment or I just like being out there. You know. So anywho, but yeah, we're working on that. So kudos to that to Officer Mead. He's new, but I mean we are going in the right direction. So.
I have some comments. First of all, thank you for posting Lucia, putting it back on social media. You brought her back. Thank you for the email regarding the parade. But if we can advertise that on social media about the parade on the 6th of September, or I didn't see it, but I know we got an email regarding it.
Okay.
So I really appreciate that. And weeds, our neighborhood's clean. I'm learning. So you guys can skip our end, you can skip our street. Other than that, really, I mean, just, I was gonna ask you, the ditch, I know it's the EPIDs, but they have a lot of trash in there, is
Which ditch is this?
along the whole ditch,
See, this.
the whole ditch.
We're looking at which was the lateral, the canal. See, I reached out to EBID considering some other issues that I was having or some residents were having, and they actually sent me some information, some I don't want to call them MOUs, but they're agreements that EBID are only responsible for certain canals and certain drainage ditches. Once they come off, say for instance, there's a lateral that right behind here, where we see our farms is that I've been speaking with them because there's one water gate that kind of leaks and kind of creates a puddle and mosquitoes and such. So yeah, they are going to work on that. But other than that, we don't have, which I find it odd, we don't have a community ditch ordinance, right? Because anything outside of those laterals, it's not ABID's responsibility anymore. Then it becomes the responsibility of the property adjacent to where it's being used, right? So if you have water rights and you have a canal or a small little ditch going towards you, all these homes that that passes through in front of their ditch, they are the ones that are responsible for maintaining it, right? So at the very end of the last person, it could be a block 2-3 blocks down the line. They're not getting much water or trash is going down or whatever. Then they have a problem, but the issue could have been, 3 or a block down the line. So we don't have any ordinances that regulates really the responsibility other than EBID's information that we get. But we really do. It's on my checklist. We really do need to make sure, identify which ones we need to hold EBID accountable for cleaning, and 2, who's got water rights, and how are we going to maintain them? Because there've been some quite a few questions about trash and stuff like that. They're like, well, it's not my down. I used to use that ditch, 7 years ago. My parents used to use the ditch but now we don't do agriculture, so I shouldn't have to. It doesn't work that way. You're still responsible for that ditch.
At least we have a community ditch, and my neighbors know, they just come down our field and we'll just get under. I mean, it's not a big deal for us, but I'm saying about the main ditches.
Yeah, the main ditch.
There's like, on the
When you talk
other
about
side,
trash, is the water's bringing it?
I just want to throw that shit.
Is it a dry ditch? I mean, is it dried up or is it still water flowing?
No, it's dry. Water season's over. Yeah, water season's over.
So all that had been flowing through is now at the.
Nice, stagnant.
or where there's-
Okay. Well, we usually give the exact location. I'll give them a call. I mean, I've come to know quite a few people, 2 people from EBID, and we get along pretty good. So they'll send their maintenance through. I know the emergency maintenance number. I can call them and they come pick it up. As long as there are no dead bodies, right, that would be all right.
Thank you.
Yeah, anything else? No? All right, thank you.
Another year down, and we're starting the new year. There were a lot of changes this year with the insurance because they lumped them all together, they have different groups, so it was a challenge, but we got those done. and we're moving forward, getting going. And the first mural was difficult because it had split old salary and new salary for this year, so, but it was done correctly, and I'm very proud of my staff. And they continue to move forward because we're a team. And now we're gonna start, I'll do my presentation on the bar and the year end, the budget for the new year. And we'll start on audit, getting ready for the audit. So, oh, it's a never ending story.
Any questions? Mr. Astorgo, Public Works has a personal thing that he's dealing with today as well. But his team is trucking along as well, as you see them out there all the time, especially with the recent rains. There's always weed control on our own property that we can focus on. The parks are being maintained, so on and so forth. He does have open positions as well that we will be interviewing for, hopefully this week. And he is out next week as well. So we're going to try to get some interviews going in and done. That way, the next meeting, hopefully we'll have some approvals for positions being filled. We do have projects that are closing up and finishing up that he's helping with some of the punches on, that being the public safety building, the security systems being installed at the public safety building here and at the community center, as well as the fire systems that are being finished up at all, which the fire team will help out with all of those and ensuring that that's set. We do have a road project that's getting ready to be underway, and that's the resurfacing of Paisano. Engineering is finishing up their design right now. So hopefully by the next meeting, we'll have an update on when the shovel will be in the ground for that road project in specific. We heard back on, I think I mentioned in the last meeting, on our Colonias funding, where we were granted that. So we'll be bringing all of that forward. And that is for the water well project, the water tank and storage and adding another tank. And then fire hydrant replacement program to replace 525 outdated and non-service fire hydrants around the entire community. And then of course, I'll touch on other things. That's where we're at with some of those projects. Next item on the agenda, public input on cases. Item number 7, this is where the public is invited to address the board on any of the cases that are being heard this evening. If there's any public comment, if you would step to the podium and state your name for the record.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Sepp. I have a few businesses on the plaza of Old Mesilla, the Chocolate Lady and Hidden Gems of Mesilla. Thank you all for your continued support of Film Las Cruces. As a business owner on the plaza, I really appreciate all the activity that is drawn up by the film and television industry. I can't go a single month without encountering a producer, a director, a crew member from out of town that is visiting Mesilla. Something really interesting happened a few weeks ago. I was at my card shop, Hidden Gems, and a producer that I had worked with years ago had walked into my store, kind of confused, and this happens a lot. I'm where Michael used to be with The Real Man, and people come in all the time looking to either get some hats or just kind of chit chat with Michael, and I let them know that he retired in November, and this producer was one of those people who would come in and either buy hats or chit chat with Michael. And it was just kind of a very interesting moment, and we got to catch up. But she had worked on a project in Las Cruces called Squealers 4 years ago, I think, purchased a house while she was here, and periodically comes in just whenever she wants and hangs out in Mesilla and hangs out in her house here in Las Cruces. So I thought that was a really interesting anecdote to bring to you all today. Thank you all.
My name is Ian Simon. I live here in Mesilla. I'm a member of the Directors Guild of America and Producers Guild of America eligible. Just wanted to thank these guys for all the hard work they do. And just kind of wanted to reiterate, they were talking about the rural spending being at kind of a record high in this state. That has a lot to do with these guys because film, as far as the state goes, is down. So that's saying like, pretty lucky to be living in this community where I've got these guys and I get hired a lot. So thanks again. I just wanted to say that on behalf. And then one of the things that they always talk about is direct spending. Russell, you kind of attested to it, was indirect spending, where, guys from LA, guys from New York, people that don't live here, what do we do on the weekends? Mesilla is the place. So I can tell you any Friday night at El Patio or any day on the plaza on a Saturday, a lot of money is being spent from a lot of, pretty well-off people that don't live here. So once again, just thank you again from Las Cruces and what you two did and built it. And yeah, that's my public comment. Thank you guys.
Any other public comment?
Seeing as there's none, we'll move on to our next item on the agenda, item 8A. For approval, PZHAC case 062147 2138 Calle del Sur, submitted by Martha Orta, requesting approval to replace one of two garage doors with windows in the historic residential zone.
Moved.
Good afternoon, trustees, mayor. Again, this is Eddie Salazar with the Economic and Community Development. This is a case that has been forwarded from our PZAC with a vote of 2-3. This is case number 062147. The address is 2138 Calle del Sur. Was submitted by Marta Horta. She is here tonight to answer any questions that I may need help with, or obviously she is always welcome to come up and add any comment along with my introduction or my discussion here. I requested approval to replace one of two garage doors with windows. The zone is historical residential. Dispatch received a call regarding above property under construction without a permit. Code Officer Ramirez responded to the call and made contact with the property owner, Marta Horta. Ms. Horta advised she had stopped by the Community Development Office and spoken with Mr. Salazar. She stated she was advised no permit was required for any internal changes / upgrades of the structure. She was unaware that the permit for a window would be required. Ms. Horta was directed to stop by and apply for a permit as it is a violation of our town ordinance. The following day, Ms. Horta spoke with Mr. Salazar and was advised, indeed, it is a violation and needed to be considered by the PZAC and the Board of Trustees. Ms. Horta applied for a permit and paid her normal permit fees, cost plus an additional fee according to our Mesilla Town Code, 15.15.1. Mesilla Town Code 1515.040D2. An investigation fee is required or is additional to the permit fee shall be collected whether or not a permit is then subsequently issued. The investigation fee shall be equal to the amount of the permit fee required by the code. And that, in fact, again, did happen. The location of the structure is in the back of the property. There is some pictures in your packet, and not the main residence. It appears to be a garage storage/accessory building. After reviewing and presenting this information to the PZAC, the two main things, or three really, came up. One was obviously what I mentioned is Ms. Horta was not aware that the windows needed a permit for that. Her statement or her comment was, that property has been owned previously by a resident that owned a plumbing company, my understanding, and the inside of that accessory building was in very, very bad shape. It was mold, and she showed me some pictures, just terrible. Obviously, along with you're cleaning the place up, you're trying to make it better, and she was unaware that, again, maybe she got a little carried away, and then she just kind of continued. But she is working on the inside. After doing some review, that property, that actually building, accessory building itself, I couldn't find any information for when it was built, but it's anywhere between 1958 and 1970. It wasn't the whole house, and it was the accessory building was not there. My understanding from a resident, I maybe you guys can help me with some information, but it started with a small little, smaller Adobe home type, and then some additions got onto that. So there's a multiple construction and materials on the actual residence itself, and that's a pitch roof.
And the one in the back is a flat roof and it's got more modern garage doors, and it's a lot of it's out of cinder block, all of it is lumber. So again, it just looks like it's been put together in various stages of its life. The windows, when the PSAC reviewed the windows along with our historic preservation specialist that were installed, did not meet the historic design for the building itself, and also the zone, the design standards for that block, I guess, according to Mesilla Town Code. So what happened was we were also the no CAD applications were submitted. Every time you opening in your building, put in a new window, or maybe even change the size from a window to a smaller one, a bigger one, or even add a door, that changes the integrity of the building itself, and a permit through CAD is required. So again, once we reviewed it through PSAC, we took those in consideration, and it was a vote from 3-2. With the condition, there was 2 conditions that were set on there: that the CAD permit process requirements are met, which means the plans and such. I already got with Mr. Maese. He has been in contact with Ms. Sorta, and all the paperwork that is submitted in your packet meets their requirement for a building permit for such project. The other condition was that Mrs. Liana Aguirre was not here that week, and was that it be reviewed by Ms. Liana, and that it should be given in recommendation as well. We did have a meeting with Ms. Horta and we've been in constant communication, and then we came to an agreement, or Ms. Liana came to an agreement, if the windows are framed with panels, you see it with wooden panels on the outside, it will have more of a design standard for a territorial building here in Mesilla. We have 5 different types of style of buildings here in Mesilla. We have the Spanish Pueblo, the territorial, the Spanish Mission, the Northern New Mexico, and the ranch style building. Obviously, in different parts of Mesilla is where they're all located, right? So we're more closer to the farmland. And again, I stand by for any questions, or Ms. Sorta wants to make any comments, she's more than welcome to. Please do.
Hi, good evening. My name is Martha. And again, I truly apologize. I did not know that I had to ask for a permit. It just started off as there's rust and there's mold and there's stuff falling off, and started peeling back everything, and it turned into a little bit of a chaos. And so I was just trying to restore it to make it look better. That's all I'm trying to do, is trying to make it look better. So again, my apologies on that. And I guess we had talked about some ideas. I threw out like 1,000 ideas for Eddie. Yeah, we did. I did. I was like, I could try this, but at some point, all I want to do is I wanted to just make it better than what it was. What it was is not at all safe, to be honest with you. When I have my granddaughters or my grandkids going in there, it's not something that I would want them to be around. And I did fumigate for all these years, every 3 months. But what I found behind that, the insulation was just awful maggots and cockroaches and all kinds of stuff. So I had to just gut it all out. So that's kind of where I'm at. And again, I'm just here if you have any questions for me. So.
So you mentioned that the installation of some, is it the panes are on the window, the existing windows to change the look?
The window. I gave you an extra. I give you. If you look at the third page, the very top picture of the third page is how it looks now. It's not finished yet. The code officer, when they spoke, obviously cease and desist will not continue. And it's the one right below is the one that we came to an agreement with. It's basically it's just frame panel that will be in the outside of the window, so it gives it the appearance that it has panels. But the window itself will not be replaced. It will just be some type of screening over the top of it.
Okay, so it can easily be done. It can easily be done.
So one more time.
that overlay of the
Yeah.
panels can easily be done.
Yes, correct. Yes, that's what I thought you said. Just want to make sure. Yeah, there are also, again, there are some other ones similar. Again, these are territorial homes. You just said some other ones, some other ideas along with that, but at minimum, if she wants to add, more decorative, landscape and gravel and stuff, and we can move, but at minimum, those panels on those windows are necessary.
Did planning and zoning put conditions on this or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Those conditions, just for clarification, which you have right now, pay additional investigation fees, meet all CID requirements and recommendations from the historic preservation specialist.
Correct. As I mentioned, yeah, it's just one, the CID requirements to be met and be reviewed and recommended by Ms. Liana, our historic preservation specialist.
Any other questions? Original motion on the floor by trustee Nevada, second by trustee Garcia. If there are no further questions, or if you can roll call vote.
Trustee Cadena,
Yes.
trustee Garcia,
Yes.
trustee Nevares,
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 3 yes.
Thank you very much for
Thank you,
approval of
trustee.
PZHA CK 062147. And that is with the notice conditions. Next item on the agenda, item 8B, for approval, the Film Las Cruces agreement. Motion on the floor by trustee Garcia, seconded by trustee Cadena. I will open it up for discussion. Penny.
I just want to say I appreciate the presentation. I think the stats are good for us to know and for us to have on record. Thank you.
If there are no further questions, motion on the floor by trustee Garcia, seconded by trustee Cadena. Laura, if you can roll call vote, please.
Cadena,
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 3 yes.
Thank you very much for approval of our Film Las Cruces agreement. Next item on the agenda, item 8C for approval, Ardonia County Fire and Emergency Response Agreement.
So moved. Second.
Motion on the floor by trustee Garcia, seconded by trustee Cadena. I will open it up for discussion. I know that we still need to have this reviewed by our legal before, even if it does move today, that would need to be done there. I do think that there does need to be a little bit more in the agreement, just a little bit more verbiage and details added, like under item 4 in specific for the deployment model. When we're looking at the emergency response for station 13 for 48 hours a week, I think we need to add a little bit more detail on specifically what that 48 hours entails. Like, is it nights? Is it weekends? When does it cover? So on and so forth. Just for clarity. I know that we know internally what it's going to take, but I think we need to have that down there for clarity. Another thing that I see that needs to be added is maybe under the annual reporting and performance metrics, item number 6, maybe add another line item that says line F for documented maintenance and expenditures on there. So whatever maintenance expenditures are expended with that $50,000, that's automatically documented so that it can be given to the county at the end of that reporting period.
For those monthly invoices that they're requesting?
Correct.
Okay.
That way it's just following through and we're going to be doing that, and providing that as a yearly deal as well as an update when it comes up to that renewal per se, or it's not really renewal because it has the clauses in here to continue on. But I think that's the other part that we do need to have in there as well, is that continuation and some of that language, because boards change, so, and doesn't necessarily mean that MOUs will stay consistent from year to year. They might change. They usually don't go away, but there's usually some trickle effects that happen within that. And we know that that'll probably change. So we probably want to look at what that looks like and just strengthen up a little language in that.
We'll get that changed as soon as possible because this goes before the county commission on the 28th.
All right, trying to get that. Well, on this side, so that these can be.
Yes, sir.
That are added in, as such. Under the liability, and insurance on item 10, we need to make sure that we include a stronger indemnification language within that, that and who's liable for what at the end of the day. And I think that that's huge, especially when we're doing these MOUs where we're cross commissioning across both for us and for them, just to have that in there. And it goes the same for because I didn't notice any force majeure language in here. So if there were a pandemic, if there were any type of major event that happened, who knows what happens? We want to know what happens in that case, and it doesn't detail any of that. And I think it's important that we add that language in there. Those are just a few of the things that I see that are changes that are, and it's just strengthening that and adding a little bit more detail. The bones are there, and we know what the intent is. There just needs to be a little bit more. I don't have any other questions or changes or suggestions on there, but I'll pass it to the board otherwise. Right. They could be conditions, yes. When we still need a legal review on it, on our part, so. Correct.
It goes before the commission on the 28th.
We have a meeting on the 27th.
Yes, correct. Just like how we have our deadlines for agreements of approval.
Is this gonna come back to us on the 28th, depending on the 27th, depending on what the attorney says?
Good. Or if they say scrap it.
Yeah.
You know, that would be the only thing. And I wouldn't move forward without this.
I don't, I'm not against it.
No, I
Okay,
understand.
don't get me wrong, I'm not against it, I just don't feel comfortable not seeing a complete contract. I don't feel very comfortable with it. And I'm not against it all whatsoever, I'm just saying, the mayor has very valuable points of what needs to get done. And I understand, I'm trusting our lives with making conditions on it and everything on there, but not knowing what we're presenting it, I would hate for us to present it and then you guys get turned down on it. You know, because I think that's gonna lower your board of self-esteem than us telling you to, you know.
Well, I think that this was something that was worked out with well, our fire chief as well as the county fire chief, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, this whole MOU has been completed with Fire Chief Whited and current interim chief Sean Heck for Doñana County Fire Rescue, and they've kind of gotten their backing. And I can't speak exactly for the MOU because I wasn't at their last meeting.
But you also had an assistant county manager.
Yes, and he was providing, as far to my knowledge from the meetings that I was present in, he was providing information for how to write this document. Yes, and I, from what I remember from when I was there, I do believe that the intent is that they are not trying to be super stringent on how we do that coverage, because it doesn't say that we have to do that coverage with paid staff. We could do that with volunteers as well.
But it's
And that they didn't word it that way, so it's not okay. You have to do it this way. It's just get us 48 hours of coverage.
I think but and that's what we just need to make sure
It's written that way.
it's written, it's provided by the town, whether it be paid or volunteer.
Okay.
Right? And it's just details.
No, yes, sir, I
And
understand.
It's nothing that's outrageous or egregious by any means. It's just that we want to make sure that we cover those little details. And yeah, I mean, we have a good, it's a,
I think it's a good solid document in your. Okay.
In our hands Monday meeting. So we can, and just bring it up for discussion.
For the 27th.
The 27th meeting, because you have a meeting on the 20th, as long as we have what legal team said and what you guys corrected, as long as we have it before that Tuesday meeting with the county.
So let's take a step back, sorry. Because the trustee Nevadas did make note that we wanted to make the formal condition on that, right? So that was a formal motion, right?
Yep.
That,
I think Trustee Garcia would mention that to have a discussion copy for the next meeting. That's what she understood. Yes.
I don't like being rushed. It's kind of being shoved at us too. Like here, we have a meeting on the 28th and we got to turn this into.
I know we've been working on this for months. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, they just kind of just.
you have to think that and to the fire department's defense, if you will, what they didn't, a lot of this was unknown until the beginning of this fiscal year when it physically started on July 1, because we didn't know specifically how ambulatory care was going to be taken care of. We didn't know how we were going to proceed with a lot of this. And a lot of that is still in question per se, right? How we're going to move forward with billing and things to that extent.
And I can attest to some of that. Like we've been in communication with the state and we still have not gotten a straight answer of who's taking over billing, whether it's still going to be PRC, if it's going to DOT. We've been back and forth a lot with Chief Whited and talking to, the heads of those departments, and we still have not gotten a straight answer.
Which on that note, the previous discussion that I had with the fire chief is also that we might be looking at another potential MOU with the city of Las Cruces to help out with part of that concurrently with what they're doing, correct? Correct. I mean, so we're trying to cover all bases.
And the last comment that I want to make about this is the entire document is designed for a transition period. The whole goal is that the department starts billing and we're able to cover these costs ourselves. You can see in the document it says any billing that occurs outside of town of Mesilla will be deducted from I guess the award is what the right way to say it. I don't know all the legalese, but the money that they give us, any money that we make from billing in Doña Ana County gets taken out of this, because the entire goal is that we will become self-sufficient. And this is not designed to last forever. It says it will renew until we decide not to do it, but the entire goal is that we get to where we can sustain ourselves and hopefully continue to grow.
Well, I think that we would probably see it continue with us taking over the fire station, South Valley Fire Station, and that would continue indefinitely until we either fully assume that station, or which it would have to be incorporated for us to do that, or the county takes it back.
Yeah, it's not exactly on their agenda to move forward with that station. Yes, sir.
You guys have just done the best job with volunteers. I mean, you're doing what the county should be doing, and you've been doing it for a while. So that's a tribute to you guys, and this will assure us of the finance and the communication that needs to occur.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Like you said, it's transition. I mean, you guys will have to come back to us if you need to.
Absolutely.
And I'll say again, I'm not against it.
Yes,
I just
ma'am.
don't like being rushed, and I don't like being shoved in it, especially knowing that legal hasn't seen it either. So I'm not against it.
No, ma'am, I
It's
understand.
just, you gotta protect you, but we gotta protect our town and you guys as well too,
Yes.
you know? So it's great presentation that you're doing, don't get me wrong, any of that stuff either, but like I said, gotta worry about.
Well, one of the things that we can do, well, Trustee Garcia, is because you are the liaison for the safety department. What we could do is just like we did with our resolution on the last one, where we have changes that are made, and then I can get you those changes once it's reviewed by the legal team, once it's been updated with those amendments that I had noted, so on and so forth. You can review it, make sure that it's in line. We'll still do a discussion at the next meeting of it, but it also allows for that to have that extra set of eyes that looks it over. It's another potential before it actually goes on because the county's agenda is going to probably be put together this next week if it hasn't been. They'll turn it around quickly because it's not super long and it's pretty straightforward. Yeah, no, I didn't. Sorry.
Second, sorry.
Amendment on the floor for Trustee Nevadas, seconded by Trustee Cadena. To amend to add the notes as I had noted earlier with that. And so, Gloria, if we can have, and that's to section 4, 6,
And
10, and then making sure that we have an extra section included for force majeure.
And also,
Right, but let's do that condition and then
Other condition? Okay. Yes.
Gloria, if you can roll call vote on that, please.
Yes.
yes.
So discussion to bring it up at the next meeting. Motion by Trustee Garcia, seconded by Trustee Nevadas. Any further discussion? All right, Gloria, roll call vote, please.
Who's gonna present this at the county? Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous.
No, you do a good job.
You do a good job. Don't be nervous.
Yeah, no, my hands aren't sweaty at all, so.
Don't be nervous. You can respond to dire emergencies, but
Yeah.
standing there is nerve-wracking.
Yeah, this is worse than any burning building I've ever ran into, so.
Original motion on the floor by Trustee Garcia, second by Trustee Cadena, with the conditions that are noted. Any further discussion? Or if we can roll call vote on the original motion, please.
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 3 yes.
Very much for approval of the emergency response agreement with the conditions.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, 8D for approval 2027 Clean and Beautiful Program Agreement. Motion on the floor by Trustee Garcia, seconded by Trustee Cadena. I will open it up for discussion, if any. It's our annual agreement on here. Motion on the floor by Trustee Garcia, seconded by Trustee Cadena. Gloria, if we can roll call vote, please. Approval of our Clean and Beautiful Program and Agreement. Next item on the agenda, item 8E for approval resolution 2026-32 for fourth quarter financial report.
Motion on the floor by trustee Nevada, seconded by trustee Garcia. We'll open it up for discussion.
Did you see the attachment A in the back?
Yes.
Did you need clarification on those items? No? Okay. And those are needed so that we can zero out these accounts, these carryovers, because we don't carry over anything on those. Okay? And then, do we want to do a vote, and then I'll just stay here for that?
Any questions or discussion on the plan? Motion on the floor by trustee Nevada, seconded by trustee Garcia. Open the roll call on that. Trustee Nevada.
Yes.
Trustee Garcia.
Yes.
Trustee Cadena. Great. Thank you very much for approval of resolution 2026-32. Next item on the agenda, 8F, for approval, resolution 2026-33 for the FY 26-27 final budget adoption. Motion on the floor by trustee Garcia, seconded by trustee Cadena. We'll open it up.
As you can see, this is what you voted on the last time. The only thing that has changed is the beginning cash balance, except for 2 items. The marshals, the law enforcement, Fund 18, they paid off their vehicles. So instead of being the 88,171, they will be receiving 108,500 for this year. Their vehicle, so it's not going to be taken out of the general, the GRT anymore. And then the next one was the SRO. We had budgeted on the preliminary 206. Well, we're going to get 194. So those changes have to be made, both on the revenue and on the expense. Okay. Any questions?
Can you just figure this out? Let's look back at last time.
I know.
Just the magnifying glass trying to read it.
Motion on the floor by trustee Garcia, seconded by trustee Cadena. There's no further question, discussion. Gloria, question.
Trustee Cadena?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia?
Yes.
Trustee Nevada?
Yes.
Mayor Revolcall, 3 yes.
Thank you very much for approval of resolution 2026-33 for the final budget.
Next item on the agenda, item 8G, approval resolution 2026-34 LGRF FY 27 co-op funding for Calle Oeste. Motion on the floor by trustee Garcia, seconded by trustee Cadena. And this is for our LGRF application that we have in and for funding on that. And we did get awarded that for LGRF for Oeste. So this is just following through with that request. Any discussion? Motion. Sorry, I thought I heard somebody. Motion on the floor by trustee Garcia, seconded by trustee Cadena. Gloria, if we can roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Mayor Revolcall, 3 yes.
Thank you very much for approval of resolution 2026-34 for our LGRF 27 co-op funding for Calle Oeste. Next item on the agenda, approval of resolution 2635 LGRF FY 27 match waiver request. Motion on the floor by trustee Garcia, seconded by trustee Cadena. We'll open it up for discussion on this one. And this is just the match waiver request for to see if we can get the match waived on the specific grant. Any questions or discussion? Motion on the floor by trustee Garcia, seconded by trustee Cadena. Gloria, if you can roll call vote, please. Great, thank you very much for approval of resolution 2026-35. Next item on the agenda, approval of resolution 2026-36, capital asset certification. Motion on the floor by trustee Garcia, seconded by trustee Cadena. I will open it up for discussion. This is just our annual capital asset certification and inventory. Any discussion? Motion on the floor by trustee Garcia, seconded by trustee Cadena. Gloria, if you can roll call vote, please. Thank you very much for approval of resolution 2026-36. Next item on the agenda, item 8J, approval of resolution 2026-37 for our South Central Council of Governments FY 26-27 agreement. Motion on the floor by trustee Garcia, seconded by trustee Cadena, and I'll open it up for discussion. This is just our annual agreement with the Council of Governments. Any questions? Motion on the floor by trustee Garcia, seconded by trustee Cadena. Laura, if you can roll call vote, please. Thank you very much for approval of resolution 2637. Next item on the agenda, item 8K, approval of resolution 2638 for the 2027 CDBG application. Motion on the floor by trustee Garcia, seconded by trustee Cadena. I will open it up for discussion. This is that application that we had during the discussion or presentation, if you will. Any questions? Motion on the floor by trustee Garcia, seconded by trustee Cadena. Gloria, if we can roll call vote, please.
Trustee Nevares. Trustee Nevares.
Yes.
Trustee Garcia.
Yes.
Mayor LaHouse, 3 yeses.
Thank you very much for approval of resolution 2638. Next item on the agenda, item 8L, approval of 2027 CBDG admin services agreement. Motion on the floor by trustee Garcia, seconded by trustee Cadena. I will open it up for discussion on this. And this is just the agreement, services agreement, that if we are awarded the CBD funding, that the Council of Governments will engage with all the service or the necessary things to get the application completed, as well as administering the grant. Any further discussion? Motion on the floor by trustee Garcia, seconded by trustee Cadena. Laura, if we can roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Trustee Nevares.
Yes.
Trustee Cadena. Yes. Mayor LaHouse, 3 yeses.
Thank you very much for approval of the 2027 CBDG admin services agreement. Next item on the agenda, 8M, approval of resolution 2026-39 employee engagement service and recognition policy. Motion on the floor by trustee Garcia, seconded by trustee Cadena. I will open it up for discussion. This is just a policy to be added where we can engage a little bit more with our team, because we don't have that specifically set, and bringing the team together, especially during town time, and just being transparent on what we're doing, when we do it, how we do it, so on and so forth. Any questions? Motion on the floor by trustee Garcia, seconded by trustee Cadena. Gloria, if we can roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much for approval of resolution 2026-39. Next item on the agenda, approval of resolution 2026-40, historic preservation funding. Motion on the floor by trustee Garcia, seconded by trustee Cadena. We'll open it up for discussion. It's preservation grant time, so I want to try to get as many grants submitted and need resolutions from you guys. So this kind of encompasses all of the potential funding throughout everything there. Any questions? Motion on the floor by trustee Garcia, seconded by trustee Cadena. Gloria, if we can roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Of our resolution 2026-40. Next item on the agenda, public input. And I'll let you know right now if I can time
I know you don't want to do that. You definitely don't want to do that. So you guys know me by now. Beverly Estrada.
Still state your name for the record. Thank you.
I'm just following up, University Project. I have submitted some of this information to Mayor Hernandez and Trustee Garcia. But I just want to put it on the know for the rest of the trustees. There's quite a bit of concerns that are going on with what's occurring due to the outcomes of the University Project. I understand the walkthrough occurred, things are pointed out, they're going to do some resolution. However, residents are right now on Capri Arc dealing with their trees, their grasses, their landscape dying. There's no improvement. They've fertilized, they've done everything they can. So, of course, one neighbor is affected, all neighbors come together and we do what we need to. So we brought in 2 professionals that we're in the know of, and they evaluated the situation. One of them is agriculture, arborist. This is what he specializes in, does it for a living. He took a look, walked up and down, looked at what was occurring, and he came to find out that the sediment and the runoff that is coming from the asphalt is causing the sediment and erosion is causing trees, the grass, the plants to die. So there's a neighbor who has paid over $5,000 on trees that he put up in his yard to try to use as a fencing that are now good as dead. They did reach out. They're trying to get soil samples completed. That's in the process from what I last heard from one of the residents. However, I highly encourage, Trustee Garcia's out there a lot. Mayor Hernandez listens to us a lot. But I'm encouraging Cadena, Nevares, get out there. Go look and see what is happening. Your seats were appointed and voted for. Come support, come help us. Like, it's not fun that we are dealing with so much negative outcome off of a project that should not have weighed this much on residents. It's just not right. And it's not right to the town of Mesilla that the town of Mesilla should have to foot any of the bills or any of the consequences that is going to come with this. So it leads to the next concern that came due to looking into all this. We have a knowledge of an architect. Does buildings, graduated off Tulane, did in the flooding, etc. So he went and he took a look at the whole walking path from McDowell to Bowman. His concern was the steep slope. It's a 90-degree angle. That's usually not the first choice that any engineer, any architect any designer would have agreed to. There's too deep of a slope. So there's always going to be water runoff. So the way he saw it and the way it's going is that there's a lot of that sediment and erosion that's going into the property. So even with you putting up a fence, you can put up a cinder block fence, you can put up a chain link fence. This sediment and this erosion is still going to occur under the fencing. So in reality, it's going to bring your fencing lower or it's going to decompose, get rid of the fencing. So it doesn't solve the solution that's at hand, is what the advice was given. The other concern that was brought up is that the erosion and the sediment not only can affect the plants and the trees it's already affecting, but it can also affect the underground culvert that was put in place. The sediment buildup can accumulate at the culvert inlet or outlet, reducing the ability for it to carry water. The slope instability, embankment to this slope, or inadequately stabilized soil movement can place stress on the culvert or damage the clogging debris. Vegetation sediment can block the culvert. So what's saying is that all of this can get blocked, and then we're going to have an issue with underground culverts, joints holding up, and possible leaks and further issues. He went on to state that the settlement, the erosion, removes the supporting soil around the culvert pipe, which may separate at the joints and or become damaged, which is what I just voiced. The fact that the sediment is going into the residents' yards this soon after the construction should be a great concern and should warrant an engineering evaluation. So based off of the knowledge brought forward, the slope is essentially vertical and it's uncommon for a permanent roadside embankment unless it's supported by a retaining wall or other engineered structure. From what we've seen, there is no wall, there is no structure. There's nothing there that we have noticed. So of course, an IPRA request was done to see like the lovely plants that NMDOT supposedly paid for, etc. What did it come down to? So in there, and I did send this to you, but to your defense, it was just last week, so you probably haven't had time to look at it all. But a lot of what is noted on there, we cannot see. The residents cannot see to the eye. I don't know if Trustee Garcia has been able to see it, but us, the residents, cannot see any of those plants identified on there. So I was just going to request, if you have opportunity, if you'll just take a minute to like walk with us or show us like where exactly those can be found, because we're not finding them. The advice given by the architect is that Mesilla may want to get a licensed civil or geotechnical engineer to go and evaluate this runoff. We should not just take at face value or word what NMDOT's engineer is stating. I mean, as obviously there's reason to question what they gave thumbs up to, but we should also obtain our own study of it, because what we are seeing should not be occurring at this time. The fact that the walking path already has the potholes is also of concern, that what's stabilizing or holding that walking path underneath was not done correctly. He also pointed out in looking at it, he went down to the bottom, looked up, that if we pay close attention between the walking path to the dirt, how much of the gappings you can see here and there. What do you call those pockets? So high recommendation is that we need a second opinion. He said if the town of Mesilla is not going to seek one as residents, we need to come together and definitely get one for the sake of what we are seeing occurring already. I was going to state with the IPR request, the question did come up with EBID and what approval they gave. From the research that was done, EBID permitted NMDOT to have consent and say over it, and they would fund it. However, a lot of that documentation has not been provided to me. They asked for another extension till July 23rd. Hence why I'm questioning a lot of things with them. I also took the time to research, and I asked for the licensing for the construction companies that were contracted. So Ducross and La Calerita, and the third one, they don't have a GF3 or GF4 that's found on record. These are usually what is necessary to do the culverts and do the underground ditches. So I just wanted to bring that to the attention in hopes that before we sign off, all of this is taken a deep look into, and the town does not take on an accountability or responsibility that they're not responsible for causing, because continued issues continue to come forward. So thank you.
Do you have all of this in your email?
I have everything printed out.
So what you just said right now is in the email?
No, it's in text. I have sent it to Mayor Hernandez and to Trustee Garcia. And this is what the people who we brought out are just friends, relatives that are doing us the favor.
But you have a lot of technical information that might be useful to listeners. We shouldn't just get this information from the NMDOT, especially from the people that they have as instruction.
From your walking path down.
Down, it's like this, okay, and that's not.
It's this way.
I've seen it, but I don't, and then it's variable through the path. I mean, a lot of stuff is variable through the path.
The pockets that were witnessed, yes. However, the consistency that it was not done correctly is throughout, from McDowell down to Bowman. That is the big concern.
That it's a different, I mean, that because it's been inconsistent, it's part of the process. I just, that's.
Yes,
So
and
maybe you can email screenshots of what you just sent, just so we have an idea when we are talking to people. I know Mayor is gonna pursue it, because we need to, if that's.
Right.
Going on.
but he's one person. I mean,
Right.
I don't expect the mayor to like walk here and have to approve
Well, with our support.
planning, right? And
I'm with DOT too, but I'm not an expert, so you already have things that we could just directly ask.
And I'm not an expert either, and I think that's where I'm at, is like Trustee Garcia has gone above and beyond. Before she was even appointed into the seat, she heard us out. I felt bad for her. She was campaigning and neighbors like bombarded. Like, and no joke, I'm sure the mayor knows what I mean. Like, they just went and they were pointing and they were saying, like, this is the issue, this is the concerns. And she heard them out, like heard us out. To that day, we have felt her support 110%, no doubt of it. Mayor took time to sit and hear me out as well. Like, there's been a lot of conversations that aren't the happiest. He can attest to that. But that's where I say, like, Trustee Nevares, Trustee Cadena, I'm not an expert either, but I take the time to like sit here and research Section 106. What does this mean? All the way to where I'm calling Washington. And this is having a full-time job. I'm employed full-time. I have a family to support. And outside of it, this is what's continuing to have done. He's one person. He needs help. And, you know, like, this is something that the town sooner than later is going to have to take on a responsibility. And I don't see it just, and I don't see it right that town of Mesilla should take on it when all of this is left in chaos. And it's obvious. We're not even 45 days, I want to say, from completion. And here's all these issues already.
Well, that's you know, is that there are very much, there are issues right now that are happening that shouldn't happen on a new project. So, I mean, that's where we need to go with it.
And I mean, I'll wait to talk to you and see about when, if there's even an engineer going to be. And I say that I feel bad, but I'm even like, he gets my text. So does Trustee Garcia, 11 o'clock at night, and I have to research. So, but that's all I want to bring to the attention and see what we can do to come up with the solution. I mean, it's not one side against another. It's what can we do to resolve the issue, because it's also not okay for the residents. A lot of them are elderly and they're out there picking up all the trash that comes to their yard, and it's not Lorenzo and his team's fault either. Like, I mean, they didn't put it this way. And some of the stuff that's going under, like, what can they do? They're limited to what can be done. So, but on a good note, I do want to say thank you, because we have seen the Mesilla marshals out there more often at night as well. So that's helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Schwab. Any other public comment?
Moving on. Board of Trustee Committee reports and comments. Trustee Nevada.
And at the Taylor Museum Friends meeting this past week. I also met with the community and economic development staff to go over and catch up with the events there. I've been kind of trying to get the different student programs at the university to maybe participate in this year's parade. So hopefully get them interested in it. It's just that it's kind of at the beginning of the semester, so they don't have time to kind of organize, but hopefully we'll get some representation. And my comment about the University Avenue project is, you know, we've heard a lot of issues coming up with that. I think we talked about it, and at what point are we going to really have a concrete idea or resolution to try to address some of those issues sooner than later. And so that's it for me. Thank you.
No meetings, we do have one Friday, July 17th. This Friday, here at Boardman, regarding the blacksmith shop. That's it, and I don't think I might be able to all this on it. To not defend this Estrada, the reason why other residents are not showing up is because they don't want to be disappointed because we can't do it. So they appointed Beverly. They have their own meeting. And I had not attended one, which I forgot to. But I did request some information from DOT. They requested. And yeah, that list, I think she forwarded to her. Yeah, I would love to see where it's at, because there's no way they spent that much money on flowers. And I think they sent in the wrong document, to be honest with you, but there's no way they spent that many flowers and have no day. And I understand they gotta pull them out when they won't replace them or any of that stuff, but also university's dirty and it's all weed, of course. You know, we're gonna tell our residents about weeds within the university. We, and community center, we, I know what weeds here, especially, probably around the corner. So, one or another. Other than that, though, I mean, yeah, I mean, if you have a question on it, you gotta remember that they're going, are we gonna do another walkthrough on punches? It's the end of the month, right? Yeah, because they only give them a week and then we finalize it at the end of the month. It's like, They've been completed, and I was gonna ask you on those no parking signs, I should have brought it up for you. They had it against the wall, isn't it supposed to be on the, and I was gonna ask Marshall, isn't it supposed to be on the other side of the walk path? So here's the walk path, they have the no parking signs on this side, isn't it supposed to be on this side of the walking path? No, okay, here's one walking path. They have the sign on this side, isn't it supposed to be on this side, along the road, on the roadside, isn't it? They don't even have any from Bowman to McDowell or, there's no, yeah, there's no signs or anything. So, I didn't realize,
Probably because it's an inactive quarter.
I figured because these neighbors are on it. And in defense onto the mayor, I did bring it up at NPO about who cleaned the weeds. The gentleman told Tom Lucia, and I called it, the mayor did not handle that, he went straight up to them and it's like, we're gonna talk. And the mayor did hold him accountable for the weeds there at the university, so I did tell the residents that, yeah, Russell, the mayor, is watching. So I will mention that, but that's all.
The friends did meet here in this boardroom, which they, for that, so we're going to do that in No, I mean, there's like 25 people in a circle, so it was perfect. Thank you, Mayor. It's a better thing for the summer days. And so we did that. Yeah, that's what we do.
I have one question, sorry. The noise ordinance, are we gonna go back to that or no?
It's literally, the only upcoming meeting is the blacksmith shop ad hoc meeting, which you two are part of. It's not, just wanted to make note of it, or taken care of here. I will be scheduling a public arts committee ad hoc meeting to have public art and public places funding that we have that we need to utilize. So we'll be looking at what that looks like, and also be putting a call for artists out this week for murals and doing that side, so that way we can get that. So we'll get that side rolling here very quickly. It's grant season right now, so I got a ton of grants that we're submitting. 2 for historic preservation. The Trails Plus grant just opened, so we'll have that coming up probably for lighting replacement on the University Avenue path, as well as some other potential funding on that one. And then the Water Trust Board just released theirs today for the NOIs or notice of intents to be for their design only applications that are due by the second week of August. So we'll be submitting those, and you'll be seeing those applications coming, or those resolutions coming through here soon as well. So, and they're just going to continue rolling from here on throughout the year. So we'll see
or you'll see a lot of grants coming through. I did receive notification from Department of Tourism as well for the grants that we receive or that we put in for Destination Forward. They will hopefully have the smaller grants announced at the here within the next week, 2 weeks. And within the next 2 weeks, the larger grants, which we did submit for a larger grant for $450,000 to redo the visitor center. Those will need to have a presentation completed. So we'll be doing a presentation along with team members on that with the Department of Tourism. And just some of the things that we have, to talk on, and I'll catch Beverly a little later as well, or Miss Estrada. I did get the list and went through that this afternoon because I was out of town last week with my family, but I did receive her email on that. And I opened it up and went through all of those reports today. In specific, a lot of the plants that are noted in that, they are out there. So it's just that, a lot of the grasses that were supposed to be native, they didn't make it. So, but the red yuccas along with the sage and other, there was, I can't even remember, penstemon I think was out there. But a lot of them are by their native names rather than by their known names. So but the pictures help a little bit with what's there. So, but I did note a lot of those there, and I'll to her note there. I'll walk with her or other residents to identify plants. I'm fine with that. And doing that, there are some other questions on some of that paperwork that you sent, Trustee Garcia, or that you received through your IPR request that I do want to follow up on because it showed some irrigation stuff going in, and I'm like, where's the irrigation? So I get there's questions and all of that, but that's the part on there. I think that there's also, when we look at it, and just a full kind of encompassing of everything, what we have, like the agreements that we have that are signed, that we did with DOT specifically for the path, as well as the areas of or the storm drains, the lights, they're maintenance agreements. So we don't take on the infrastructure fully. It's not our infrastructure. It's still DOT's infrastructure. So if there's holes that end up in the path, or part of the path ends up falling down because of erosion, we're not on the foot to fix that. DOT is still on the foot to fix all of that. So just like throughout all of these issues that have been brought up already with the drains and the drainage coming off and going into people's yards, they're working on the solutions for those and trying to figure out what the best solution may be. They've narrowed it down to 2 and getting that set to see what that looks like. But there again, it has to be a change order to complete that. And that's on the resident side, not on, from what Ms. Estrada was mentioning, was a 90 degree. I think it's more of like a 45, rather than a 90, in look, because 90 degrees straight up and down. But it is still a steep incline there that has runoff on that regardless. And so, when we get these heavy rains, it'll definitely continue to happen. Yeah. I think that the other part of that, having a civil engineer involved in this, I mean, DOT, they have their engineers, but they also had Bohannon Houston was the engineer that worked with them in the design on this, and they're all civil engineers on their side. So, I mean, they should have done it right, and it should have been done correctly. We can have one of our on-call engineers take a look at it overall, That does come at a cost though for the hourly on whatever that takes on that look there. So that is something that if the board wants to review that, we can have a further discussion on what that looks like on that side. An estimate. Yeah. I don't know. And I think that that's the hard part because as I mentioned just before, is that it's not our infrastructure. So I think that's where even if there was an issue, it doesn't come on our bill to fix it. It comes on DOT's bill to fix it. And so we can make those suggestions, but that's coming from our engineer. So whether they take that or not, I don't know. It might get muddy and complicated. But it's something that we can review for sure and look at. What's that? That I don't know for the asphalt. That's something that needs to be. That's information that I'll get from Beverly on that and get with DOT. Right. Get the experts involved. Great. Right. We'll follow up on all of that. In our on that timeline. So it was, and I think we brought it up in the last meeting, but just to touch on it again, they needed to have final information, which I had sent a whole list to them that included what we had from the walkthrough, plus some extras that came to mind and afterthoughts and walkthroughs on there. And signage was one of them, missing signage here and there along with different things up and down. I can ask again on the signs on the path on that, and I don't know if it's necessary, but we can check in and see on some of those and ask some of the questions. But they were gonna get a master list completed with all of the issues that needed to be done and get that out to everybody, which I have not seen that yet. I'll follow up with that tomorrow. And then the contractor had 30 to 90 days. We tried to get everything done within 30 days to work towards completion. And then whenever that is, but it can be up to 90 days, especially if there's the bigger issues that need to be addressed, and such as the change order items in there. One of the things is that I want to note is, and I think I mentioned it on the last meeting, is that the lighting, they are putting shades on all the lights, but the shades only cover the back end of the light, not the front end of the light. So the front end still projects. I mean, when they're on, the lights are all on the north side of the street, so they all project into literally people's backyards and windows. And if you haven't gotten those emails from people that have been sending that, there's a ton, so and nobody wants that. So we'll work on that. But that's why we have an application going in for Trails Plus. We'll see. And I don't have anything else, so unless there is objection, we'll call this meeting adjourned. 8:06.
I can't.